I think that was the first thing I did was I tried to just kind of like shift stuff around a little bit and like try to make it look like I had done other types of things because I had. It's just that I hadn't done it in a while, right?
How do I actually do it? So let's dig in. You right now are currently a true crime editor, and it's all you've been working on are true crime documentaries. And I have at least a dozen names and faces in my head of people that have come to me with this exact problem. I've been doing true crime for years. I cannot get out of it. It's the only jobs that'll pay the bills. Let's workshop this for a few minutes. What's the first step that somebody should take if the only work they're getting is work that they don't want to be getting anymore? Of all the things you said, kind of the general advice, let's start getting really specific. What's the first step to getting out of that hole and moving towards something else that you want to do?
I think the first thing that I did was I looked at my resume and I found the projects that were not true crime, right? And I bumped those up higher. So I'm like, okay, now people can see I've done not only true crime, I've done other things.
But
so
hold on a second. You're not allowed to do that. You can't change the order of things on a resume. Isn't my resume just supposed to be a chronological listing in reverse chronological order of everything I've ever done in my entire life?
No, no.
Wait, what? It's not?
Especially for what we do. I mean, a lot of jobs are like, they just want to see that you have a certain type of experience, right? So a lot of times for work, I'll like tailor something where I'm like, I know that I'm going out for like a dramatic project. I'm going to put the last drama like up where they can see it, because people don't always, I mean, as much as I'd love them to read my whole resume, they aren't going to, you know, people are busy. They have hundreds of resumes. So it's like, they need to just see that you have that one thing that would be a fit for their project. So I think that was the first thing I did was I tried to just kind of like shift stuff around a little bit and like try to make it look like I had done other types of things because I had. It's just that I hadn't done it in a while, right? And then from there, I started reaching out to pretty much everyone I knew, any contact I had, and saying like, you know, these are what my intentions are, right? It's not that I don't like working in this style, but I would like to branch out and do this. If you hear of anything, you know, I would love to be considered, or I would love if you would pass my info. So it was a matter of like kind of reconnecting with a lot of contacts that I hadn't maybe talked to in a little while, just to check in, but also to say like, you know, I'm trying to kind of shift it up a little bit. A lot of times other contacts are also trying to do the same thing. So it's like you're kind of on this journey together. So it's a good way to kind of reconnect with people.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to mention in there that I think is so key that I also advise my students to do is that when you're making a major transition, don't dump all over your past experience. Oh, I've been working in true crime forever and I'm totally stuck, and anything you hear of that's not true crime would be awesome. Like, you don't need to do that. I think the way that you put it is perfect. Yeah. This has been great. I've really enjoyed my experience doing this. I'm ready for a new and different challenge. I love to work more on these things. People just like that positive energy more because they can just sense, well, if you're going to be negative about this now, you're probably going to be negative about this new thing in 6 months to a year. I don't want that kind of energy, right? So I think that it's a great way to put it that, yeah, I did this thing. It's great. I want to do something else next. How were you able to convince people that you had the transferable skills, even if on paper you didn't have the experience?
I think this is something that in my transition sort of from unscripted to scripted, I think helped a lot in where I would basically just say like, in unscripted, you have thousands of hours of footage. You're creating moments that maybe aren't there. You're making someone funny who's not funny, right? You're maybe creating a dramatic moment that was not supposed to be dramatic. You're pouring over all these hours of footage. And if you're able to do that with like an unscripted content, then imagine what you can do with something that was shot intentionally and like not nearly as much footage, but you have the ability to do those like things to manipulate a story and make it really full, I guess. To me, I think that's something that kind of helped in interviews, trying to kind of make that jump and like try out different things within the scripted vein when I had like primarily done unscripted. And I think it kind of that translates as well to like, from true crime into something else. I think true crime is one of the harder forms of like doc that you can cut, because a lot of times the footage, you don't have it, right? It's like you have maybe archival stuff, or you have interviews that don't tell you everything you need to know. So you're kind of piecing together story a lot. So I think just by having the abilities, storytelling abilities from that specific genre are valuable in every other genre. So I kind of would really just try to emphasize, I have a strong sense of story just from working in that alone. So I can definitely prove myself within this other genre if you're willing to let me, give it a shot.